I would love to hear thoughts about how to organize with communities across nonprofits, ways to coordinate together, and resisting the ways that money tries to pull organizations apart. Maybe part of another conversation with other organizations, but I'd be curious. I feel like Roz, you have coming from your philanthropy background too, you probably have a lot of experience as to how this concept and this challenge has moved in spaces. So I'd love to have you share your thoughts with us.
Sure, I will unmute myself. Thank you for your question, Kate. What I will, I'll answer it with two primary thoughts around it. And one is that, I mentioned earlier that we have a small team in the U.S., small but mighty, which we hope to grow some. And so we really have to be very thoughtful about how we apply those resources given our capacity. And I always like to think about MP's work as filling a very, very critical lane for in the short term and then for the long term of building toward peace and justice. And so we are a partner in these movements, right? We're meeting people where they are, and we are bringing the resources and the expertise that we have as nonviolent peace force to movements that are much bigger than us, right? And so there's a degree to which it's not necessarily MP's role to tell communities or movements what they should be doing, but to offer our own set of values and experiences when we're in relationship to them and partnership. I'll also say that there's a lot more cohesion than it looks like, right? Like, because I think we get very, very little information about what social justice movements are doing. And I say movements because there's so many different moving parts, there's so many different things happening. But I think there's an awareness that there's common opposition. And that this is not the time to be looking for reasons to not join forces. I will say, having worked in philanthropy for a really long time, where some of the resources are coming from. One is philanthropy has always been a very, very small part of funding social change work. Um, if for example, philanthropic support for social change, making things better for people, is less than 10% of all philanthropic giving in the United States. The majority of funding still goes to museums, arts and arts institutions, or people wanting to put their names on a college building, right? And while I'm not criticizing that necessarily, you can talk to me on another day. It is still the facts of what happens with philanthropic dollars. And then even when it goes to social causes, it usually is for social services. Feeding the hungry, clothing the needy. And again, those things are really, really important. But what it means is that for movement work, we really have to be focused on how we fuel ourselves. And some of that is financial resources, and some of it isn't. The Nobel Peace Prize winner, Graça Machel, she often would say that the wealth of communities is not financial wealth. Of the communities that are pushed most to the margins is not financial wealth, but we've been so programmed not to count those resources as meaningful because they're not financial. Um, so that's like, I don't know if I'm totally answering your question, but I'm actually experiencing with MP that there's more invitation to partner than people pushing us away or pushing each other away. And I think it's really important that we not buy into that narrative because it's distracting at a time when we don't need distraction.